everyone, today is Saturday, March 4th, 2023. My name is Payman. Welcome to your YouTube channel. I like to read books and to write a book review or to write a book summary. For some of them I can have an input, like I provide to critique, to say constructive criticism of the book. For some of them I cannot, because I don't have much of a knowledge. I really enjoy it. I like to summarize that book the best way I can and share that book for others. I was thinking, how can other people really benefit from book review or book summary? If you're a student, maybe you're in high school, maybe you're in university. I remember myself when I was attending universities, it was very difficult to find time to read one book because each course requires to have 3 textbooks. Reading 3 textbooks plus working, all that kind of thing, drains all my time, and it was very tough. It was very tough to do it. So I decided that hopefully, maybe someone will benefit if you're a university student and maybe you're pro-capitalism, because my side will be left center. It's a red Tory left center. So hey, this book, for example, page 20 says that's the concept that I need. I was looking for it, and go and write it. Or if you like what I'm saying and you say, hey, I like these ideas, and I little bit add more into it because I have some other ideas. So this is like a brainstorming. It's not a cheating or anything like that. I don't like when people use the word cheating, because sometimes this is not cheating. I don't like it. It's very derogatory. We are working together towards something. So it's a brainstorming. It is coming together. That's not the intention, okay? So this book. A few seconds ago I finished a book review for this one, okay? It is The Problem with Socialism by Thomas J. Di Lorenzo, okay? And this one, United States of Socialism, who is behind it, why it is evil, how to stop it. It is written by Dinesh D. Souza. I apologize, I cannot pronounce his name. And I will be speaking the English language, then I will switch to the Persian language. I hope you will enjoy it. I know I cannot make it really like other guys make it nice and appealing, colorful. This kind of thing. Mine is very black and white, but you got the background. So the book format, I apologize, I couldn't say it. I read the book title, the publisher All Points Books, published 2020. It has 6 chapters. It has 290 pages. The objective of the author, Bernie Sanders, was a key figure in perpetuating socialism in the US, who exploited others for financial gain, such as buying several properties. The author believes political actors like Sanders caused the social system to encompass all facets of the US economy and must be replaced with the libertarian political economy. He's not talking about libertarian political economy, but when I was reading what he's trying to say, I figured out what he's trying to say. It was the same thing as Mr. De Lorenzo. He wants to have a libertarian political economy. It is an enigma for the author of the socialist system reviving during human history, especially the US defeated the former Soviet Union, and no one should expect socialism to wake in his adopted hometown, the USA. Introduction, page 15. Socialism involves a restraint on economic freedom and on individual freedom in general, meaning you no longer have the right to keep what you earn or what you want, or even say what you think. The socialists answered that in restricting your freedom, socialism advances a different type of freedom, freedom of people to govern themselves through democratic self-rule. The author uses the above frame of thought to define socialism, which is ambiguous and does not make sense whatsoever. How does socialism restrain the economy and infringe on individuals' freedom? How does socialism advance a people's freedom to govern themselves through democratic self-rule? The author fails to illustrate what he means by socialism and what he means by capitalism. Overall, it is responsibility and accountability of every citizen to pay their taxes to their government, to support the judicial system, the executive body, and the legislative body. You see, there's a problem for them to publish in this kind of book. I remember several years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 10 years ago, around 2014 to 2012, 2012 to 2014. I know, I started 2014 because I just graduated from University of Fraser Valley. Then I backtracked a little bit. I remember at that time they were calling themselves sovereign citizens in the US and Canada. They were saying, we don't want to pay our taxes, and they were referring to the old constitution Canada and US had. I'm like, dude, we have new laws, and new laws will supersede the old laws, old constitutions, whatever it was. They didn't want to pay their car insurance, things like that. I know for a fact Law Society of British Columbia called them a terrorist, and after that it all ended. Okay, I don't like to go extreme, like calling people terrorists. I like to reason with people and help them to understand what is their mistake. There is no reason to be so extreme and trying to shut them their voice. They need to understand what they're doing, how they're helping their community to grow. Okay? So it is very important to have a strong judicial system, not in an authoritarian way. To have a strong executive body, not in an authoritarian way. To have legislative body, executive body, like in a very healthy way, like we have a judicial system. It is strong, it is impartial, and it's helping justice to govern Canada. Justice governs the US. But I know the US is a federal system. The author dislikes Cortes. I cannot pronounce this person's last name and first name. Recommends you have a right to a job, a right to an education, a right to a dignified home, a right to a dignified retirement, and a right to health care. Because the author asserts it is an entitlement mentality, page 22. The author lives in the US and is aware of gun violence as a number one threat to US domestic safety and security. Richard Wilkinson and Kate Pickett published their book The Spirit Why Equality is Better for Everyone, asserted in their research book that gun violence in countries that they have one form of social system is low compared to the US economy, which has the highest gun violence in the developed world. Mr. Dinesh Souza said he disliked the recommendation of Cortes for a right to a job. Let's discuss this idea of what happens when people have a job. They are less likely to commit crimes because they have much to lose. Let's discuss the idea of education. When people have proper education, they are enlightened and approach complex questions harmoniously with others. The chance of gaining employment, not relying on social assistance, and creating jobs are going upward compared to someone who needs proper education. Higher education means better jobs, income, and paying taxes. Let's discuss the notion of a good home. When people have a good and clean home, they are most likely to be good citizens and engage in civic activities because they are part of their communities. They are taking care of their homes and neighborhoods. Let's discuss the promotion of dignity retirement. When people are working, they deserve to save money aside to use during cold season when they cannot work. Only some people have the right kind of financial advisor to help them. Thus, the government is responsible for providing financial security for people during their old age. Thus, people pay taxes when they work. It is time to reap the benefit from their past work. Let's discuss the right to healthcare. When people are working and paying their taxes, it is financially wise for the government to take over the role of healthcare because the cost of healthcare is expensive. Michael Moore's documentary Sicko illustrates how private healthcare insurance hire doctors to decline surgery for cancer patients. However, when there is universal healthcare, patients' health comes first and people live a happy and a vibrant life. The author dislikes socialism because capitalism has allocated virtually all its reward to the very rich, the top 1%. Consequently, we must cure this market failure and adopt socialism schemes to redistribute the reward. Page 23. The author claims, think about it this way. Most people would not dream of going into their... This is so funny. This part of it is so funny. The author claims, think about it this way. Most people would not dream of going into their neighbor's house, eating from his refrigerator and helping them to his wallet. It is just not right. So the only way to involve honest people in a theft scheme is to convince them that their neighbors have been stealing from them. Their neighbor has filled his refrigerator with provision that belongs to you. Page 30. Okay, I'm coming to it. Again, I'm going back to C. Wright Mills, talking about the 1% controlling the legislative body and the U.S. economy. They are making laws, they are legislating laws in the benefit of 1%. But as I was working on this book review, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, CBC, on Thursday, February 23rd, 2023, released an article. And the price of groceries is skyrocketing. Loblaw Company Limited fourth-quarter result that analysts' expectation on Thursday as the Canadian retailer was boosted by its pharmacy business and continued demand for grocery. The company says it earned a profit available to common shareholders of $529 million. I'm like, okay, indeed, Loblaw Company and other owner of means of production, they're filling their pockets with my money, and they're filling their refrigerators with my money. I'm not saying go help yourself, because that theft, don't do it. Now, I'm going to make it a little bit spicy. Dalhousie University report predicts a 5% to 7% food price increase in 2023, with the most substantial increase in vegetable, dairy, and meat. The report forecasts that an average family of 4, include a man age 13 to 50, woman age 31 to 50, boy, and age we have 14 to 80, and girl 9 to 11, will spend up to 16,000, I'm rounding it up, per year on food, and an increase up to 1,000 from what was observed in 2022. And the price, if I'm like thinking about it, if the price of goods has gone up that much, so Loblaw is exploiting people. Because if the price of goods, the grocery, everything has gone that up, they shouldn't be making that much profit. Okay. I guess we're gonna have this one. Show me the money. Show me the money. The author says Marx called America a bourgeois society and later noted that capitalism had developed in America more rapidly and shamelessly than any. Page 33. The author says that the U.S. had economic growth due to individuals like Benjamin Franklin, the founder last recall, were not career politicians or mere men of letters. They were scientists, inventors, entrepreneurs, and builders. In other words, practical men of varied talents. Page 40. Um, I already did a book review for this one. The author is saying the same idea. Okay. This is, I'm like, I became very sad when I became aware of it, because I tell you this, the only reason has a strong economy is because of a slavery and stealing lands from First Nations. That's it. Like, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Why the U.S. economy is under pressure? Because of the federal system. This the author Thomas J. De Lorenzo is saying the U.S. economy is federal because each state is preserving its own interests, is safeguarding its own interests, doesn't care about the other states. And I have written significantly about federalism as a very dysfunctional political system. And the author is talking about the federalism in a very glorious way, but it's missing point. It is page 49, he's talking about this federal system. I have written extensively. Then again, I'm talking about the Netflix documentary 13th. The documentary illustrates that how Joe Biden was one of those people who make the legislative bodies to pass laws, to legislate laws against African American First Nations. It is very important to understand this concept. Like, I'm part of marginalized member of society, and I experience it every day. Jobs denied because I speak the English with the accent. Job denied because I'm a first generation immigrant in Canada. People tell me this kind of all of it on my face. It's not like, and you say, go to courthouse. Lawyer costs money. Okay? BC human rights, that costs money. And they don't like my kind of a case because they're racist too. Okay, forget about it. So, we talked about that. Okay, and chapter 2, the author illustrates a vital point, warning sign for other nations that they are not this, I loved it. I read it in the heraldry book, and this author, Souza, says, it is very important for people around the world to know that the U.S. hates monarchy system. When the U.S. revolt against British monarchy, it revolted against monarchy system all around the world. And if you, I didn't write it in my blog, but that's why the U.S. attacked Iran, the Pahlavi dynasty, because it hates monarchy system. And it says, I'm going to read it. Read it. George Washington understood that the American Revolution was not merely a rejection of British monarchy, it was a rejection of monarchy itself. Page 63. And I wrote about it, this one. So, they hate this whole thing, the monarchy. The author says surveys showed that Americans take socialism more seriously than ever before. A Gallup survey from 2019 has 51% of U.S. adults saying socialism would be a bad thing for their country, but a respectable 43% say it would be a good thing. Gallup survey from the post-World War II era record only 50% of Americans saying they wish to see the country go more in the direction of socialism. Page 64. Why are so Americans asking to move towards socialism compared to post-World War II? Let's look at the author's statement in a reflective. Jean Rousseau, I said private property is a source of social inequality because it creates a class system. A class system means those who have power and those who do not have power. The source of power stems from private property. Therefore, a class system creates a barrier. The class does not have from happiness. To remove the barrier for all classes by creating a classless society begins to abolish private property. What does 1% of the US power elite have? They have private property, who are controlling the US legislative bodies on how to pass laws to pay fewer tax. On February 28, 2023, Salesforce report paying Matthew I cannot pronounce his last name, McConaughey, $10 million a year to act as a creative advisor, despite laying off 8,000 employees last month. He is not bothered by the fact that 8,000 people lost their jobs and he makes $10,000 a year. Combining Rousseau's political economy with the current affair of the US, like Matthew, I apologize for not pronouncing his name, $10 million a year to act as a creative advisor. Naturally, people want to have job security and would advocate for socialism. Like, when people are losing their jobs and a few people are making $10 million a year, they're not asking for socialism, they're asking for communism. Chapter 3, the author says on page 100, America went from class socialism to identity socialism. The US moved from class socialism to identity socialism because identity is a source of a barrier for a subculture to be accepted in society as an equal partner in a heterosexual white male-dominated culture. During the COVID-19 crisis, a high proportion of African Americans lost their jobs compared to white people in the US. The author says on page 102 that Italian communist Antonio Gramsci, hegemony was Gramsci's key concept. He insists that the capitalists did not rule solely on the basis of economic power, rather they ruled through bourgeois value that permeate the cultural, educational, and psychological realm of society. Economics insists a subset of culture. How to distinguish socialism from communism? He says it himself, like, it seems to me he has no clue what he's talking about, really. He's just thrown an idea. The author says Marx thought that a proletarian uprising was the only way to have socialism and then communism. Marx advanced his theory as scientific. Page 111. Socialism is not same as communism. In my previous book review, in this one, I was saying I'm coming to define what is concept of socialism and what is concept of communism. They're two different. So I know they're intentionally blurring concepts. Socialism is different than communism. Socialism allows having private property. However, communism abolishes private property because it creates a class system leading to societal inequality. Let's call communism science fiction, and socialism is a science because communism is a way of romantically approaching social, political, and economic. However, socialism is extracting the lesson from communism to produce sound policies for everyone's benefit. The author verbally abused them for not sharing his views and begins name-calling them on page 116. He says, opposite message delivered by the same type of idiots, in some cases delivered by the very same idiots themselves. He is very verbally abusive throughout his books. He's not professional, he's not like trying to express himself. So, okay, his cultural background is page 121. His cultural background is from India, and he admires England for colonizing India. I'm like, okay, we are having a problem right now. Okay, what happened? Because England made railroad in India. This is a problem. When England colonized India because of its natural resources, so India's economy begins to regress. It begins to decline. It's going downhill. He doesn't see that part of it, but he says, oh, build us a railroad. It means nothing. And it affects the institutions of that country. For example, if you want to have a judicial system, if you want to have executive bodies, it affects everything. It destroys everything, and he doesn't see that. All he sees, this fake, fraudulent idea that it was a very noble act that we built a railroad. But railroad means nothing. Just think about India was the head of the time in astronomy and mathematics. Like I know, because I read these books a long time ago, I can't remember. But it's like, where does karate come from? From India, not from China, not from Okinawa, not from Japan. It was a monk who traveled to China, and from China it went to Okinawa, from Okinawa to Japan. This person is off the chart. Chapter 4, why socialism work in the Scandinavian countries? Okay, initially this author and other author, De Lorenzo, was saying, oh, it's a myth, Scandinavian countries have socialism, it doesn't work. And he says, Scandinavian countries have a culture of socialism. It's called talk tool, but it's not the same talkoot, Talkoot, which means doing work together, or merger. We are all in the same boat. They have a culture, unlike the US culture, that I'm the only best one. I'm the only best one who could make $10 million a year, and 8,000 people of you are nothing, or beneath me. But that's what Scandinavian countries are coming to it. They're working, they're contributing to the national economy, and they share the wealth together. So it is the culture, and that's the culture that we need to do. And again, the Souza began to attack Canada's universal healthcare. No one can, many people tried to get rid of Canada's universal healthcare, and they failed. Many people tried to have a two-tier system, and they failed too. This whole idea, Canada's healthcare system is dirty, is a big lie. It's the most cleanest industry in Canada. If you could see me talking about racism in Canada in my other playlists I have, I never said anything wrong about Canadian healthcare system. It's totally different. It is really nice, clean, safe environment. Chapter 5. The author dedicated this portion of the chapter to claim that capitalism is social justice by claiming that the vote costs him nothing except inconvenience if going to the polls or sending it. Page 186. According to political philosopher Emmanuel, I'm coming, okay, I'm going to elaborate that one. According to political philosopher Emmanuel Kant, the vote has power because it enables voters to elect a candidate to the office to represent their views in the legislative body. Like this book's author, how can anyone think that vote costs nothing? It's everything. The author says consumers have the right to vote for the products they want, and in this sense, they elevate the entrepreneurs who produce those products. If they make foolish choice, that is regrettable, but it is their right. Capitalism is like democracy, is rooted in the popular will and popular consent. Thus, capitalism is like democracy, a form of social justice. Page 187. Capitalism is not like democracy. Capitalism is focused on economic growth by keeping costs down, such as paying employees the least amount. Thus, the employer or owner, the means of production, begins to exploit workers. Aristotle discussed the notion of democracy as a concept of socialism. Therefore, the capitalism is not social justice because the capitalist system is designed to exploit workers, and the social justice system is designed to reduce the degree of exploitation of people in the capitalist system. I have no idea. Like, I could talk about this for a very long time. Again, I go back to my sociology book written by Dr. Robert Bream, who uses at New Society. The book title is New Society. The book written about the kids going to a chimney in England. They were cleaning the chimney. I work at VIP, so proud of. I saw how they exploit me. My body, because I inhaled toxic chemicals into my lungs and other people, my body turned red, and they kicked me out. I called Worker Compensation Board. They spit on my face. They kicked me out. Ooh. Yeah. Chapter 6, the author, the last chapter. This is a comedy. This is a tragedy and comedy of the author. The author says ovarian through lottery is baseless in the US and claims that the people in the US live in a meritocracy and their hard work determines where they stand on the mountain of success. And I don't want to Google check people or anything like that. I give people their privacy. Rarely I do. Like, if you are part of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I will do a Google check. But people like that, no, I don't, because they're going to tell me everything. So, he was convicted due to campaign contribution to Mr. Donald Trump. And the law enforcement agencies, they say, okay, we got our guy, we're going to go, we're going to do everything that we can to convict him. Later on, Mr. Donald Trump pardoned him for his criminal conviction. Okay. He's a US president, he can do whatever he wants. That's fine. But he was saying ovarian lottery has no meaning. I'm like thinking, how many other people, we are seeing it's true, convicted because they couldn't return lawyer. They are convicted because of racist police officer. Police are human being. I'm not saying all of them are racist. I have seen a white police officer, you say one racist word and he's going to stop you. He means business. I'm talking he. I have seen it. Okay, he was white and he disliked it and the guy was racist toward me. There are police officers like that, but I'm talking about those rotten apple police officers who are racist. They convict the person because they hate guys like me, and guys like me have to be behind bars. That's what they think. They're a slave. They have to go back. They don't know their place in society. They abuse their power. In Canada, it's called racial profiling. I have written it in my blog entry. So it is over there, so you could see it. So when we have